Good afternoon, VV Nation. Happy Monday. We're here to kick off another trading week. Again, my name is Ryan. It's always a pleasure. Now, let's go ahead and wait for the alert. Should be hitting here any second. People are making their way into the room. I see the viewership is growing. Just put a VV in the comment section if you can hear me, if you can see me. We got Joey in the background today. Let's see here. ABB, yep. Doctor, functional medicine, nutrition, morning. Alex, Jazz, all right, people making their way in. Hey, Pennywise, how are we doing? All right, let's get to it. Looking at the VectorVest homepage here. I saw the major indices. They were mixed this morning. Throughout most of this morning, you can see they're barely edging into positive territory right now. Dow Jones up 0.01%. NASDAQ 0.17%. S&P pretty much flatline, just like the Dow Jones at 0.1% as well. Now, that being said, I'm not surprised that the market's taking a little bit of a pause today. Again, we've got big earnings ahead of us. In addition to that, we've got inflation data coming out this week. And we all know about the tariffs announcements over the weekend here. We can see the market's kind of shrugging off. Yep, Alex, there you go. Market shrugging off the Trump tariffs. We'll see what happens here. I don't know if the market is, I don't know if they're going to price it in until they know what's going on here. Jazz says money going into crypto. Yeah, Jazz, I'm not surprised by that one bit. I've been saying that for about 2 weeks now with the big, beautiful bill. That crypto is probably going to thrive under that. G-Money Morning making that money today, buying those dips tomorrow. Inflation data for Canada and the U.S. Okay, Canadian inflation data coming out as well later this week. But yeah, tomorrow we do have a kickoff for U.S. inflation data. Trump says 100% to Russia if not ceases. ABB, I wonder how much trade Russia and the United States still does, because I mean it's been sanctioned for a while now. So we'll see it. We'll see how that plays out. I'm not too worried about any kind of deal with Russia. I think my biggest focus still is going to be either, China being the number one, followed by the EU and Canada, but we'll see what happens here. Ryan looks like he found some sun over the weekend. Yes, I did. It was a beautiful weekend here in North Carolina, about 90 degrees and sunny. Had a little bit of rain in the evening, but other than that, enjoyed a beautiful week. Just to get this out of the way, Thursday and Friday, I will be gone. I will be at the beach. I will be getting more sun. So just a heads up, as far as Thursday, I think Steve Chappell is going to take over trending Thursday. And as far as Friday's lineup, I'm not sure exactly who is taking that. Joey, we're not doing a mobile stream Friday, are we?
No, I don't think so. I think that was canceled.
Okay, yeah. So Friday's mobile stream will be canceled. The Power Hour in the community room is canceled this week. And again, Steve Chappell, as far as I know right now, is going to be leading trending Thursday with Joey. 3B trades with Russia, Hawaii, question mark. What do you mean, ABB, Hawaii, question mark? Increased sanctions would have been something with actual teeth. When we going to, let me scroll back up to this comment here. Jazz says, when are we going to hear that Powell actually steps down? Yeah, I heard some news about, Jerome Powell and the Trump administration. Hasn't made any decisions yet, but clearly, if Trump doesn't get the interest rate cut he's looking for, Jerome Powell might be out of there here pretty soon. Where you go for the beach? I'm actually going to North Myrtle. I haven't been to the Myrtle Beach area probably about 15 years. Normally I go to Charleston, but doing something different this year. I'll actually be going to Charleston next month. See my cousin down there. All right. Pennywise, where's Glenn? Glenn is still in recovery. As far as I know, everything is going good there with his recovery. If there's any major updates, I'll definitely let you know. Or someone here at VectorVest will most certainly do that. Pennywise says Trump hired Powell. Yes, I do see the irony in that, Pennywise, and I do realize that Trump is actually the one that did hire him under the Trump 1 administration, right? And Joe Biden did not change that, and he's been, the Fed chair since. EU stirring the pot, trying to do joint retaliation. Why can't the world just make Trump happy for 4 years? It's not like he's getting another term. Well, why would the EU not do a joint retaliation? They're a joint partnership, right? So if they're not going to do a joint retaliation, I don't really see much point in the EU if they're not going to band together, right? That's just, an outsider looking in. Jazz says, if he doesn't step down, I wonder if that could start a black swan. That's interesting. Wrightsville water, so much better. Try them. You talking about Wrightsville Beach, Jerry? Near Wilmington, North Carolina? I was actually just out there not too long ago. That's the convenient part about living in Charlotte, North Carolina. We got a lot of different beaches between North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. If you drive a little bit further. Otherwise, we got the mountains not far. If you've never been to Charlotte, North Carolina, definitely recommend coming down. It's a beautiful place. Beautiful place. All right. I will say this. Today's presentation, I'm going to focus on, if we look here, look at this top RT Industries here. Look at the big mover, 2.6%. Telecom, fiber optics. Did a video on this. That was a couple months ago. Probably didn't get many views because fiber optics, let's be honest, not a very hot subject online. But you can see that industry there doing really good. So we're going to take, we're going to go through, actually, probably do like the top 5, 10 picks, see if there's any opportunities still there with some of these high-flying stocks. As well, we're going to take a look at aerospace and defense today. Look, I mean, the market, barely in positive territory, 0.1%. But if we want to find some momentum to the upside, it's going to be aerospace and defense and looks like fiber optic companies here. Other than that, we've got crypto. For those who like crypto, we might take a look at a couple crypto stocks today. All right, let's get into some news stories, see what's, potentially moved in the market here. All right. First one I want to talk about, look, Bitcoin surpasses $120,000. Another congressional meeting. Lawmakers here see crypto week here. The high, look at this, $123,000, right? Not too surprised by that by any means. If you're holding crypto, I know you're happy with that decision, or ETFs of crypto or crypto-related stocks. Patriot missile defense going to Ukraine, another bullish thing for DFIN. Yes. So, Alex, they did get the Patriot missile defense system. Interesting. I know the last time I think it was Turkey, that was a big debacle. When we put that in there, nude beaches are the only. Oh, I can't believe we're in that U12. Is it altcoin season coming? I'm not too sure about the altcoin season. I'll have to look at some of the altcoins. I'm not a big altcoin trader, to be honest with you. I'm loving my positions in DRS, AVAV, Katos, Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, Rocket Lab, Pennywise. Yeah, DFIN. Still. Why not, right? I mean, it's pretty clear as day that governments around the world are spending more and more money, bigger pledges to defense spending. So I'm not surprised that those type of stocks are on the move. But yeah, Bitcoin moving right along here, topped $123,000. And again, coming off of, congressional hearings, a lot of excitement here. The last congressional meeting on crypto was about, 2-3 weeks ago. That was the stable coin regulation. And you saw Circle. Right after the IPO, they had that congressional hearing, and obviously Circle, for lack of better words, went to the moon. I thought my blockchain would do better. Hive and Bitfarms still red. Whole. My ETFs are good. Again, if you're doing the crypto mining stocks, those are very volatile in nature. Just be careful with those. We'll take a look at them here in just a few when we go to that industry. But other than Bitcoin hitting $123,000, look at this. I saw U.S. antimony making a big move today, got back above $3. Look, United States Antimony provides update on both international and domestic antimony procurements, right? They've got a lot of things going on here. Significant expansion. Antimony supply chain with new procurement deals in Alaska. Yeah, Bolivia, Chad, and Canada. Reactivation of another smelter here, the Madero smelter. So a lot of big things going on with UAV wise. Take a look at the stock as well. Again, as far as any kind of deal with China, I did see exports of rare earths increased quite a bit. I saw that article as well. I probably should have put that in here. It was a CNBC article. You can go to their website, check it out. But China's rare earths, pretty much exploded as far as their exports. And now they're doing like little shady deals. We're going through, other countries, third parties, that kind of thing to get the rare earths and the critical minerals here. Ryan, what do you think better? Crypto play for 5? 5 to 10 years. I think being diversified in crypto is the way to go. Saxena, and I would definitely put, some Ethereum, some Bitcoin, and that diversification. Those are the big players here, right? The more aggressive you want to be in the space, you can add some of the altcoins there, right? You can add some of the XRP, some of the Litecoin. Me, I'm not a big meme coin person, especially if you're saying 5 to 10 years. Meme coins, those are just momentum trades for me personally. So I wouldn't necessarily just buy a meme coin. Hold on, I haven't done it yet. I've only traded Doge, and that was probably about 4 years ago when I was trading Doge. But other than that, UAMY here, look at this. This one I thought was interesting. NVIDIA's Jensen Huang brushes off U.S. fears that China's military will use his firm's chips. Did anyone see this interview? If you did not see this interview, I'm telling you right now, Google it. It's on YouTube. Watch the interview. Essentially, just make a claim that China's military has no interest building their infrastructure on NVIDIA for national security purposes. They're American-made chips, right? I agree that pretty much he was pitching that, saying, hey, China's not that big of a threat. They don't care that much about our chips. He wants to sell them to China, right? I can't blame the guy. But other than that, you can see, look at this. The comments came as he's got a tightrope between Beijing and the U.S. ahead of a second trip to China this year, right? Now, they look, and I thought it was very interesting. They don't need NVIDIA chips or American stacks to build their military, right? So for that, to come out of Jensen Huang's mouth saying that, China doesn't need U.S. chips, that's a pretty big statement, right? The PLA definitely wants NVIDIA chips. I see them wanting their chips, but again, the stacks, which is the software behind the chips, right? Would you want your military software infrastructure to be based off designs and manufacturing by pretty much your adversaries, us, right? If we do have a conflict, right? That would be like the United States saying, oh, let's put our military on Chinese stacks. It's not a smart idea. It might be a good short-term solution for China. But for the long term, that's probably just going to bite them in the butt, right? NVIDIA could make backdoor access with military use in China. Yeah, I'm not going to comment on that, Troy. That's a slippery slope going down there. Thoughts on coin? Friday, I looked at coin. It was down when Bitcoin hit an all-time high. Again, I will be shocked if coin is down today. I have not looked at coin, but I think coin is definitely one that we should look at. The Chinese want access to NVIDIA chips to reverse engineer them and make their own variants. Pennywise, that's exactly why I see they want NVIDIA chips. And guess what? They already got their chips. They already got them. They've already seen them. They probably got them in labs right now over in China trying to dissect them and, figure out which chemical reactions make what. I don't know if you've ever been to a semi-fab, but the chips are literally made. They're not manufactured through chemical reactions. But yeah, Pennywise, I definitely see that. Why wouldn't they not want to reverse engineer? If China had the most advanced chips, don't you think the United States would want to reverse engineer those and make our own chips? Right? I mean, just logically thinking, we would want to do the same thing, right? Me, I call a spade a spade. ARM Holdings, this is the next stock I want to talk about here. ARM Holdings wants 50% of the AI data center. Remember, I was talking about this story, right? Strong ambitions. The stock was, I think, around 110 when I was doing the story, if I remember correctly, maybe 115, coming off that gap fill from a while back, the $80 to $90 level. Now it's at 150, right? But, this article here, but current gross metrics don't fully support that target. Whether or not they fully support the target or not, that's not my concern. It is, look, ARM stock has surged ahead of fundamentals, right? Talked about this. The valuation is overstretched, especially, I think, I want to take a look at it. I think it's probably about 150. Oh, there it is. 145 was the previous close here. Reverse engineer rare earths. I think they're trying to do that actually with coal, with ash coal, right? Try to turn it right back into rare earths, Bill. So it's not that crazy of a thought, and you can bet Russia will have access to those chips. Yeah, Pennywise, I bet they would. And well, you remember towards the beginning of the Ukrainian war, maybe a year or two into it, But Russia they were finding American semiconductors and Russian technology, right? Because they don't make their own. Well, they make some, but they don't make a lot of them. So yeah, they were trying to, they're going to want chips, right? China can manufacture their chips. I mean, their manufacturing of chips is growing astronomically. But yes, they are behind the curve, right? So they're going to do what they can to keep up. I've seen stuff on Solana ETF called Souls. Yes, Pennywise, I do like Souls. I like Solana in general. Yeah, that's absolutely correct, Ryan. Hybrid quantum chips, quantum emotion, baby, emotion stock. It took a big dip there to about 40 cents, and then now it's rallied. I think last time I looked, it's about $1.20. I know they've got a lot of military deals, emotion, at least for some of the articles that I've seen here. Definitely some big things going on with emotion. All right, now ARM Holdings, again, great stock. I'm on the same target here as Seeking Alpha. If you're holding the position, I've helped you, get into this position, sub $100, close to $100. You're up quite a bit here. I would, adjust more toward the technicals at this point, just because it is overstretched from a fundamental standpoint, and I do see, probably better buying opportunities ahead. But we'll take a look at the chart in just a moment. By the way, DRS is also a quantum play, laser tech used for cooling quantum computers. Interesting. Now that I did not know. That's a pretty cool fact right there. All right, this is an article I thought was interesting. This is just going, analyst raising earning estimates this week. We've got a lot of big stocks reporting this week. And this is a big week to kick out. Look, this week, 35 companies in the S&P 500, 6 members of the Dow Jones Industrial Average are due to report, and they include the 6 largest banks, right? So this article came out raising expectations of certain stocks, right? Progressive Corp, 24% to the upside. Seagate Technologies, 16% estimated change to the upside. Netflix, 12.9% estimated change to the upside. So these are the 3 stocks I put in a watch list. Progressive Corp is a stock I gave you guys, a while back, going through the holidays and whatnot. Seagate, I've never heard of this company before. If anyone has, and you got some good comments on it, put that in the comment section here. But that's going to be there. We're going to take a look at that, see if there's any opportunities with Seagate. And then we got Netflix. I know that's a very popular stock amongst the VectorVest community and, the world in general. It's a good stock, right? Raising earning expectations on these companies. So let's go ahead into the VectorVest 7 software here. Take a look at these stocks. All right, the Dow Jones did slip into negative territory, but still flat, right? Still flat. I don't think the market's going to do a whole lot today. I think we're going to wait for the inflation data before we see really any moves in the market. And possibly, maybe some more clarity on these tariff situations. See if we're going to get some follow through on this tariff situation. Seagate does servers like HPE and Dell. Okay, Pennywise, well, that's a hot space right now. So let's take a look. All right, so NVIDIA Corp, flat today. The big mover today is going to be Netflix, just shy of 2% to the upside. Actually, I take that back. U.S. Antimony's the big mover today, up 10% here, 296. It's up much more, but you see definitely a big upper wick forming here. Seagate makes hard drives. Seagate sells storage solutions like hard drives. Okay. Hard drives, I definitely see that being a hot space in general, really. But if we take a look at value here, first thing, let's see where the value lies with these positions. NVIDIA, undervalued. Seagate, undervalued. Netflix, overvalued here. Greatly overvalued, about 50%. We got Bitcoin Mini Trust, ETFs, that's going to be the same. iShares Bitcoin, again, ETFs, so it's going to remain the same. Undervalued Progressive. This is going to come in fairly valued to overvalued here. It's just about 10 cents over our valuation. And then ARM, greatly overvalued. So you got Netflix overvalued, along with ARM Holdings, which is going to be the most overvalued stock in this list right now. Now, as far as looking at long-term price appreciation potential, right? You got NVIDIA, Seagate, ARM does not qualify, Progressive Corp. But look at this. Even though U.S. Antimony is overvalued right now, it's got a strong relative value. Still putting it in the category of a good long-term investment. Embody, Ryan, hope to see you and Glenn back with the Cowboy Hot. Wednesday, we're going to have cowboy hats on Wednesday. But yeah, as far as long-term appreciation, lots of good stocks here. And let's look at some safety here. Resorted by RS relative safety. Progressive at the top of the list. Netflix at the top of the list. Nvidia at the top of the list. Seagate, that's where it falters as far as fundamental analysis, is on the risk side of things. And RT relative timing, what's moving up the fastest right now? We got Seagate, Nvidia, the Bitcoin ETFs here. We got ARM Holdings of 1.48. Forecasted data. Nothing negative in this list. All positive. Look, Seagate might be a good stock here. This might be a good one. Let's take a look. Let's go to graphs. See what the graph is telling us here. Right? Trade your chart, not your hot. You got to trade the chart. STX. Well, first thing I'm going to say, that is on a tear. Right? On a tear. That, if you're not comfortable jumping in on that right now, hey, I don't blame you at all. That sucker was $70. Now it's $148. It's what? Since April? So it's doubled since April. Yeah, so if you're in it, hey, there's not much to be worried about right now. Price action still above the 8-day exponential moving average. Even the 3s just remained above the 8 here. Pennywise, Cato's been moving up quick. All right, let's take a look. Pennywise, let's take a look at Cato's. Thank you for that, Pennywise, by the way. You see, this is stock I was looking at fast. Big upper wick here. Gave it all away. That's no follow through. So if you're looking at fast, dead in the water to me. Cato, look at that bad boy. And I'll be honest, for this layout, this kind of momentum here, I'm going to switch over to Star Search. We are getting to that second Bollinger Band, Pennywise, so just be careful because every time it's touched it, we've gotten a pullback. Every time we touched it, we've gotten at least a short-term pullback, right? If we do get a pullback, or if it does pull, want to retest anything to the downside, you can see it's going to be right here, right in this area right here. You got 3 wicks and then a clear break. So you might have a gap fill somewhere in here around the 46. To about 47.80. So if it does pull back, if it breaks much below this, just be careful. And as far as, let's go into a 3-month time span. Yep, I'm not surprised finding that rejection there either. You see the line? Boom, boom, boom. Be careful on that, Pennywise. Just, at least just for the short term. If we get any kind of little pullback, hey, is what it is. But this thing, if it breaks above this line and we get a close above it, what stock was that? Was it SoFi? I think was retesting a line like this, and then when it broke, but yeah, I think it was in a it was in an ascending channel and it broke it. This is not so much of an ascending channel, but if it breaks above this, I mean, this thing could take off. I'm not gonna lie. See if we get a close above this. I mean, it's already, stretched, especially since it's on the upper Bollinger Band. I want to be in a rush to sell if we do get a pivot, a pullback, some kind of rejection here. Just be careful. I'd be looking around that 48 to 47 level. But I want to get a close above this trend line here. If I can get some closes above this trend line, break it, maybe a retest, and then really pick up some momentum for a good run. But yeah, Pennywise, I want to be, I'm not bearish on it by any means. If we do get a rejection here, I think most likely it's going to be short-lived, probably right in here. But if we can break above this, and this thing might really start taking off, Pennywise. I'm just going to, keep that. So yeah, and anyone else, if you're trying to make a short-term buck here on, defense, again, if it breaks above this, I think was it SoFi? No, I want to look. Yeah, it was. So you see the touches? Boom, 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 boom. And then it broke above it, and then it just went off to the races. This is, you see the descending channel here as well. Katos. This, yeah, so this thing might have some run into it. This might have some run. And honestly, with defense spending, I saw the comments from Macron, was the leader of France here. He made some pretty big statements as far as expanding his military budget. So that probably helped push defense stocks and give this stock the momentum it needs to get above this trend line here. Otherwise, look for that rejection in the short term, and I'd want the bulls to come in around this level. If we break this level, that could be the end of this run. But again, I'm going to be more bullish, more optimistic on this stock than not. One good military contract could send Kratos soaring. Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if the news right now, or even other, defense spending news in the near future could really push this above it. So yeah, if you're in it, like Pennywise, wouldn't be too concerned. If you're not in it, I'm not a buyer right now. I really want to see it break above this trend line and get a close above it. If I can get a close above it, come the next day, if I see any kind of follow through or take out that previous, the wick from the prior day, the high from the prior day by a couple cents, it might not be a bad momentum play. This one could be shaping up here pretty soon. Hegsmith made a huge drone announcement recently. Oh, they had drone. Was it part of Drone Day was that Friday? Pennywise? That might be it. Could have been part of Drone Day on Friday. But yeah, Pennywise, thank you for the super chat. Always appreciate it. And thank you for this position, because a lot of people in VV Nation watching this, you might have a good trade set up here soon. And if it, I would think this is optionable. Pennywise, is this optionable? They got pretty good volume on options here. I haven't looked at options. What do you think of BBAI? We'll take a look at BBAI here in just a moment, but let's take a look at these stocks again. Thank you for that, Pennywise. All right, STX here. I'd want to see it take out that prior high, or at least remain in the fast lane if you're thinking about getting this position. NVIDIA, bottom wick right at the bottom of this Bollinger Band here, but still remains in the fast lane. Buying pressure right at that standard deviation of 1 Bollinger Band here. I like it. Several retests. Retest on it. Stayed in it. Retest. Looks like it's going to stay in it. Here we've got Bitcoin. Getting rejection at that second day just means it's a little overextended. So if you're wanting to add to your Bitcoin or BTC, probably take a little bit of a breather right now. Here's IBIT. Same scenario, right? Gap up. Came back down. Again, the move was over the weekend. Here's ARM Holdings. ARM Holdings broke its trend line. So, you know me, I'm a trend line person. Don't overthink it. Again, take profits, people. Last time I got you in this stock, the first time I talked about it, we broke out this descending trend line here. I think it was, what, 50, 60 bucks? Yep. And then last time was this gap fill. You can see my lines here. See, filled the gap. That gap comes from... Even when I did my ARM video, I said that was the time to wait. This one right here. Wait, not that gap fill. Yeah, I think it was that gap fill. Yeah, it was that gap fill. Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, that gap fill right here. Off to the races. We broke that trend line. So if I got you in here close to 100 bucks, a little over 100, again, don't be too greedy, but we broke the trend line. That swing trade play to the upside, it's over, in my opinion, right? It broke the fast lane of the standard deviation one right here. And then just a few days later, broke through that trend line. So if you're holding ARM, again, I don't know what your objectives are, but I'm going to be bearish on ARM right now. Here's Netflix. Netflix is steady Eddie. Lower left, upper right. Nothing too crazy. Yeah, it's on a pullback. This might not be a bad dip. I mean, it is Netflix. But from a valuation standpoint, we are going to put in the overvalued category from the VectorVest standard. Look at this upper wick forming here. Sitting at 296, right at my little pivot here. Coming off of this high, this level support. Around $2. I like UAMY. I think they're only going to get more procurement deals. ARM is also great for getting international exposure. Yes, ARM. Sorry, Pennywise. Yes, I do believe that. For sure. They're what? UK. They're a UK company, but their primary investor is SoftBank. Definitely on SoftBank. UAM1, I still like it. As it, if you're thinking about getting to this, is overstretched right now. This upper wick, yeah, not a big fan. But look, it just got into the fast lane. It's got a lot of procurement deals. And from the valuation perspective, that's why I like it. That's, one of my favorite reasons as far as like a rare earth or critical mineral play. You can see it's right at our valuation. If you look at MP, if you look at USAR, way overvalued. Trust me, I like MP as well. But I just feel like UAMY is a good long-term play. And look at the valuation. I mean, lower left, upper right, it's still climbing. I like it. Pennywise's ARM, yeah. I thought there was the UK. Is it a good time for buying? Monthly income is good by BTCI. Well, Amir, just depends, what your goal is for monthly income. And what do you mean by, is it a good time to buy for monthly income? Amir, I'm not too sure exactly what you mean by that. But here is progressive. You can see it broke its trend line. As soon as it broke its trend line, it's been off to the races. Still in the bearish lane when it comes to Star Search. I'm not thinking about bottom fishing on it. But more so than that, look at the valuation. Values on the decline, price actions on the decline. So this is the least favorite chart pattern. The only thing that would make this worse is if progressive was overvalued, right? Seeking Alpha just sent me an alert on new Defiance ETF focused on military tech evolution called Jedi. Hey, that's a cool name, though, for ETF. Is that this ticker symbol, Pennywise? Jedi? A military tech. It sounds like it would be like an ARC fund, but for military purposes, Pennywise. Does that kind of sound like the gist of Jedi? BTCI price is high. Was wondering if it's a good time to get in. Well, Amir, I'm going to let you make that your decision. But I've said it before. I've been saying it for I don't know. Actually, I've been talking about Bitcoin longer than that. The best time to buy Bitcoin is when no one is talking about Bitcoin. Or they're talking about how crappy it is. Right? If you want to buy it at a new high, it's just like any other stock. Right? It's like a momentum play right now. Like any other stock. Just make sure you're disciplined. Make sure you're comfortable with the volatility. And make sure you have a plan in place in case it does not go your way. But yes, my personal opinion is the best time to buy Bitcoin is when no one is talking about Bitcoin or any other crypto for that matter. Just don't overthink it, because everyone's talking about it. It means everyone's piling in now and the price is going up, right? Well, if you want to buy it on that in that time period, just treat it like a momentum play, like any other stock, like a Midas touch stock. You use a 3 and 8, 20-day EMA trend lines on the Bitcoin. I don't have a clue what Bitcoin's going to do 3 weeks from now. No one does, right? That's why I stick to my charts. I'm going to treat a Bitcoin just like I treat an AMD, just like I treat an ETF, an index. I treat it all the same. I look at the chart and I trade the chart, right? Not to steal Glenn's saying, but it is a great saying. Trade the chart, not your heart. Doesn't matter what the underlying asset is of the chart. You might have to, take into consideration what kind of stock or crypto you're getting into. They do have cryptos. They're called meme coins, just like they got meme stocks. The full name of Jedi is Defiance Drone and Modern Warfare ETF. Along with drones, it's going heavy on cybersecurity and space stocks. Pennywise, that's where warfare is going. Cybersecurity, space, drones, right? The next big thing is going to be, mining potentially the moon. I don't know if you guys saw about that, but there's a little element there called helium-13 on the moon. It's pretty much, an elementary way to put it. It's like nuclear energy, but without the radiation. It's called helium-13. It burns up in our atmosphere, but the moon's been collecting it for a while from the sun. It's actually the only element worth in weight to bring it back. And I don't know how much it costs, but it's a lot of money. But it's the only one worth going up there, picking it up, bringing it back. Think about it. Gold, diamonds, what's another one? Platinum. That stuff's probably, maybe a diamond's worth going up there and getting, but, gold and platinum, not worth all the work and money and fuel and resources going up there and coming back. So yeah, there are reasons that people are going to go to the moon. People go to the moon and start putting stuff there. Guess what? The first thing they're going to want to do is start defending the stuff they put there, right? Let's be honest. We know human nature. But yeah, that's a cool Jedi. I wonder if it's in the VectorVest 7 system. Is this the last stock? All right, let's see if it is. This might be a cool one. Jedi. It is not. I'm going to write it down. I'm going to give it to our data manager and see if we can get that. All right, let me close out of this here. All right. Now let's go over to the homepage real quick. It's 12:35. Let's find some fish, and then I'm gonna take your fish picks. Jedi is super new. Okay, yeah. For ETF, I'm gonna see if we can get it added to the database, get it tracking, because I like the idea of the futuristic defense stuff, and it's got a cool name. It's Jedi. Who wouldn't want a Jedi in their stock portfolio? Joey, we got any good Star Wars footage we can put on the live stream? I'm just kidding. I do like Star Wars, though. All right, let's take a look at this. First thing I want to look at is fiber optics. Like I said, I did a video on this maybe 6-9 months ago. Fiber optics, not a very cool subject on the internet, so I don't think it got too many views. But good side. And actually, I'm just curious here. Let's just go quick test. I'm just going to say, I think it was at least about 6 months ago. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll just do beginning. We'll do beginning of the year, because that's closer to the market high. Because February, just about everything would be coming up good. Oh, wait, no. First trading day of the year. Let's see how these have done. 64% on average. Man, I told y'all Friday. I don't know what it is, but the videos with the low views are the videos you probably should watch, because they're the ones that work out the best. Because I'm less worried about marketing and what you guys are worried about watching, and what the world's worried about watching, instead of just putting out good content. But look at fiber optic, because the whole story behind this is that everyone's thinks that the world operates on satellites for data transmission. No, we're still on fiber optics. Satellites are important, but the world still runs on fiber optic. These intercontinental cables stretching, from the Pacific across the Atlantic. Jedi, does it trade on U.S. market? Pennywise, I believe it does, Sultan, because Pennywise is here in the U.S., but it's not in the VectorVest 7 software, so we're trying to get it added. But so I'm telling you right now, look at these stocks are rocking and rolling. The Q's only up 7% since December 2nd. These stocks up 64%. One loser, less than 1%. So let's change this to current day. July 14th. There's 6 stocks found here. We're looking at the top 5. Actually, let's just take a look at it all. Might as well. There's only one extra stock. You want some technology stocks that change the world, that are important? Trust me, I know NVIDIA is important, but these companies here, they are just as important. Well, I don't know if they're just as important, but they're important. They might just be just as important. All right, Clearfield. We see some bottom buying. Oh, this might be a good dip, right? Look at the first chart. Because the first thing I'm going to do is put this little horizontal line here. Boom, right off that level. Touch from support here. And where's that? Right off this wick here. So I treat it more like a zone. As long as price action stay above this zone, I like it. You want the confirmation? Get it back above the upper band here. It comes in at 43.59. The short-term DPO just went negative. So, I'd look for some follow-through before just jumping in on this bad boy. But I like what I see here. OCC must be headline-driven, negative earnings. Interesting. Yeah, Jedi will be listed in the USA. Is it listed yet, Pennywise? Is Jedi out yet? But yeah, this one here, this might be a good pivot. Look for that follow through. Telecom, fiber optics, hot industry, OCC, optical cable. This is the one you're talking about here. It must be headline driven, negative earnings. It's got that big wick at the top. Be careful of that. But look at that big wick. Right. I mean, it's overstretched for sure. You could see it touching the standard deviation of 3 here. Touched it. Got a little rejection. Big blast off. Now seeing a little bit more rejection here. Let's go to 5-year chart. Are we at highs? Ooh. Look at this little pumper. Look at this little. This had a couple pumps. Pump, rejection. You can see the wicks right here. I'm going to put. This is my rejection level. This is a cheap stock. This thing might just run though. Look at those big candlesticks. Woo. Let's get above this level here. I want to get into the 7s. I want to see this thing get into the 7. It's 624. I'd give up 75. I mean, this is a fast moving stock. If this thing's going to get above $7, this thing might just rocket, right? So yeah, if you are not comfortable with some volatility, this is not for you. Not for you at all. This one, not as exciting as the last stock, but look, just lower left, upper right for the last few months. Value. The value in the space in general is not there. You can see these stocks just becoming all overvalued. This is the best trade setup I see so far. Let's see if we see some follow through. This is a gunslinging one. If you want the confirmation, I'm looking around $7 because you've seen the last few pumps pulled back quite a bit. This one here getting clear rejection at this upper Bollinger Band here. Overvalued. Not seeing that there. Let's go 1 year chart. Nothing too crazy here. For this one, I want to get... Yeah, that's going to put me in the fast lane. Just put a trend line on it. Or just get in the... Wait till it gets in the fast lane. But this could be another one that picks up a little bit. For some momentum to the upside. Now, here's a stock. It's been trending lower. But look at the valuation rising, right? We see price action way overvalued. Price action comes back. Value rises somewhere in the middle, right? You see the low coming in. Nice pivot off that low at 810. We did just enter the fast lane. If I'm looking for a pullback for a dip to buy, it's going to probably be off this here. Maybe treat it like a zone. Probably about $10 to about $9.70. See if we get a pullback there. If you see a nice bottom wick, a nice pivot, something to get the bulls excited, this might be a good stock. Otherwise, maybe have some patience. Let this value continue to grow. See if price action pulls back a little bit. Could get using some undervalued positions here. But I do like that value rocking and rolling. I mean, that value alone's kind of got me intrigued on this stock because the value went from 266 now to 876, right? That's important. According to SA, Jedi will focus on companies generating at least 30% of the revenue from next-gen defense tech. Okay. I like this, Jedi. That'd be a cool video, I think. And I could do... Me and Joey have a cool image. Maybe I'd be holding a lightsaber. We'll see. Thanks for the neg tip. I made 97% in a few days, Dennis. I'm telling y'all right now. Some of the... Like the video Monday BBAI, I'm not going to talk bad about BBAI. But yeah, it got a lot of views, like 20,000, 21,000 views. No follow through. I said, look for the pullback. I've been saying that all week on it. We'll take a look at BBAI. Hopefully hit that 550 level. Then I get a little bit more exciting. But neg, man, it was the highest short interest stock. It brought me my VectorVest company portfolio. I'm number one in the entire company, 130, I think it's 133% to the upside for the year. I got into neg and I cashed out, I think it was Thursday or Friday. I cashed out around $40 on neg. When I saw, I bought it initially, I pulled back, bought a little bit more, and then sold out at 40. So I'm looking at it. And no, I didn't do that with real, my real money. Just did that within our company contest. Let's see here. Stop gloating. Well, if Glenn was here, I'd probably gloat a little bit more. I'd probably gloat a little bit more on Glenn. Now, here's a stock that's interesting. It's gone to 0.000001. So we're going to skip this one. Great job. You used JPI to get those results. Yes, I always use the JPI. The Joey Perfect Indicator has put me in first place. All right, let's get out of this one. Let's take a look at some aerospace defense stocks here. Let's see what's still moving. Yeah, 2.8%. Let's scan through some currency real quick. All right. Not surprised. XXRP. This is double leverage XRP is at the top of the list here. As long as price action can stay above that $44, maybe treat it like a zone. 42. But if we drop by much less than 42, I'd be more concerned about taking profits. Bitcoin pulling back, a little overextended right now on that standard deviation of 3. You can see it pulling back. So yeah, I'm not going to say buy crypto today. It's down day on crypto today. All right, let's go look at some aerospace and defense. View stock graph. All right, let's go to view stocks industry sector. All right, these are the top stocks of the sector, top 5. Actually, let's do something different here. Instead of the top 5 by VST, let's make it interesting, since I know most of you already know these stocks. Catos, DRS, DCO. Let's do earnings growth rate. We're just going to graph the top 5. We're going to go solely off earnings growth rate. What do we got here? We got standard, LOAR, ETCC. I ain't never seen any of these symbols in the comment section. So let's take a look at them. Let's take a look at some new stocks today. It's Monday. It's a new week. Oh, wait. What's going on here? There we go. Interesting. I like this chart right out the gate. Look at that. Big body candlestick. This thing might just break. We might just have a nice little run here. That's the main level I see here. We got pivots all over the place on this level. That's around 30, was it 30.69? Right now we're at 30.66. I need a little bit more follow through. But here's a small company here. Obviously there's something exciting. I'm going to switch this layout here, because these may not all be momentum plays. Let's look at some real data here. Look at this. Rising earnings, sales growth rate. It faltered, but still higher than it was 6 months ago. 16%. Rising earnings per share. Not an expensive stock. $30.66. Look at the 20-day EMA. This is the opportunity. Look. Jumps. Retest. This is your dip, right? This would be my follow through on. Oh, let me use this one. This would be the last dip. This is the follow through I'd be looking for. Rolling over, right? Nice. Put his back up. A little bit of follow through. Same thing here. I actually like this stock. I like the chart here. I like it. Let's see what the other ones. LOAR, way overvalued. It's using that 20-day. Is on the decline now. It's being rejected at that 20-day each time. So nope, I'd be more bearish on this one. It's probably going to go up a little bit. Maybe another rejection. Hey, if we get some closes above this 20-day EMA, actually, if I really wanted to turn around, I want to take out this high right here. 88.75. We're about $7 away from that. I'm up 124%. Cato, 69%. DRS, 724% with Palantir. Woo! Those are big names. Big names. This one, not so much. This one, not a lot of volume here. It is undervalued. This might, if you're looking for a penny stock, maybe do some research. You might find something interesting here. But look, growth rate, 40%. Sales growth rate, 16%. Forecasted earnings just went positive this year. 40 cents. Look, the stock is cheaper than it was before. And you're getting a whole lot more earnings per share and a whole lot more earnings growth rate than at this price. Let's go back here. I'm curious. Look at this little guy. We got our gap fill. Close to a gap fill. We're coming off of that gap fill. We're actually above the gap now. I like this. This might be interesting. This is a low market cap, cheap stock. So if you got a portfolio, yeah, I see the momentum to the downside. Greatly undervalued. This might not be a bad candidate here. This one here, KRM, Carmen Holdings. Actually, this looks beautiful. Screw the last chart. This is the one right here. Yeah, well, it's more expensive. It's a different scenario. $49. Nice price action here. Strong buy rating. Rising forecasted data. 37, 20%, 21% on the sales growth rate. Earnings per share on the right. This is actually a great stock. KRMN. This is one. And here's a fish for you, right? Yeah, KRMN is on my watch list, Pennywise says. Okay. See, I knew it would be a little bit more interesting if we just resort by GRT. You know, we'll get some new names in the list. And this is one of them right here. KRMN. What was the other one I like? This one, if you like penny stocks, may not be bad. I see the gap fill. It's coming right off of that. Maybe I'd want to see more confirmation, but you may not be getting a bad price there. Not that one. This one as well. This SARO. Look for some confirmation, especially tomorrow. You know, if we could close above 39.70 today, maybe a little bit of confirmation tomorrow. I like what I see here. Let's see, KRMN, last one, ACLLY. Not a lot of volume here at all. So if you have a large account, probably not for you. I do like the pivot here off this 20-day EMA. Maybe wait for the rollover. See what the next. I'd want to get into it closer to that 20-day EMA. Let's go to a 5-year. See what the big picture is here. Overvalued, but value's on the rise. If value was flat, I'd be concerned, but I like it. BFGFF is a great penny stock, a silver, gold, copper mining company. Interesting. What time is it? 12:51. All right, we gotta get some of your stock picks. Go ahead and start hitting that like button. Again, every 10 stocks, you get every 10 likes, you get a pick. It is Monday. Forgive me. It is Monday. All right, you got about 10 seconds before I shut the door on likes. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. If you hit the like button by now, that's on you. Joey, what do we got? All right. 70 likes, 7 stocks. We got RCAT. EVR. SGHC. GLW. ANET. SNPS. And I'm going to do Big Bear AI because I did that stock last week. I'm going to do Core Weave because I did a video on that. My honorable mention. David, I'm not going to tax you on MU because I like MU. So you guys got it good with me. Glenn ran a tight ship. My ship may not be as tight as Glenn's. Let's see here. That's 8. What was the other one I needed? GLW. Do we have GLW? Oh, that's the other one. GLW. Oh, we did have GLW. ANET. We got SNPS. IESC. All right. Scroll over to the left here. What kind of stocks y'all give me? Semiconductors. Telecom, financial. Actually, pretty good diverse group of stocks here. We'll resort by biggest movers. Biggest mover, we got Red Cat at the top, 8%. Big Bear AI, 2.64%. GLW, Supergroup. As far as value, way overvalued. Way overvalued. Slightly overvalued. Slightly overvalued. We'll call it fairly valued there. Undervalued. Here's an undervalued pick. Yes, he's still undervalued. Look at that value. 468. Whew. This has just gotten into overvalued territory. Overvalued. Micron still greatly undervalued by our metrics. A lot of good RVs here long term. Safety. Pretty safe list altogether except the top 3. A little bit more speculative or aggressive in nature. RTs, all these stocks are trending up. Forecasted data, all great except for sales growth rate here, negative 74%. And Big Bear AI, 5% on both. All right, let's graph them. That's a big move, big breakout. You can see we're hitting swing high here. About 947. We're still there. If you get a big wick towards the end of the day here, we're getting some rejection, right? I don't know where you bought it at. You might want to consider taking some profits. That's up to you. Otherwise, if you're looking to get in, it jumped up. I mean, it's right in here. If you're not in it, I wouldn't get in it until either I break above this 947 level or break down below here or find a pivot here. Let's go with the 3 and the 8. 3's cross both. Look at that. Fresh crossover as of 2 trading sessions ago. My follow through. It hit its high, 950 or 937 right now. I want to get a close back in the 950s. I got to get a close above this 947 level, right? We don't want any sign of rejection here. But if this thing breaks above it, this could just break out. RCAT sells drones to the U.S. Army. Oh, it's a drone stock. Okay. Well, that big gap up is probably because of drone day on Friday, right? So, again, news-driven momentum. The news has happened already, right? So, what happens here? We could potentially get a wick. So that's what I say. Just look for this upper wick. Right now, we got a full-body candlestick for the most part, so I'm not that concerned about it. Otherwise, wait for the breakout. Oh. But just looking at the company here. But yeah, mixed forecasted data, overvalued. I'm going to treat it with the technicals. Stick to the technicals here. Here's Big Bear AI. Look at that. Oh my God. Did I not say this last friggin' Monday on the video? If you were waiting for Big Bear AI, if you're looking for the buy opportunity in Big Bear AI, this is it. This is it. Cannot say that anymore. Everyone's telling me about Big Bear AI. Oh, he put out a videos down. I said it in the video. Look for the pivot on the pullback here. You can see my lines. Still the same lines. This was if the severe pullback about 550. Here, look, you got a gap fill. You got 20-day EMA going into the gap fill. Bounce off of it, right? That's your entry. Big Bill Jerry's APP has not hit a new high since February. This is going to be a huge base if it finally breaks out. Interesting. You talk about App 11. App 11. But yeah, Big Bear AI, I'd want to see some follow through tomorrow. And obviously this is speculative, so don't quote me on that. But yeah, this was my entry point, right? If it breaks much below this, this is the other level I was working at. Right here. Ryan, one update does not make it uptrend. No, it does not, Bill. But that's the pivot you are looking for. That's the pullback you are looking for. Again, look for the follow through tomorrow. If you jumped in here this morning on Big Bear AI, this 20-day EMA, just be disciplined, right? It doesn't mean this thing is just going to automatically go back up, right? To $8, $9, $10, whatever. But if you're going to have an entry on Big Bear AI, as of recent, the last few trading sessions, this would have been it, right? On the 20-day EMA. So yeah, that's my commentary on Big Bear AI. Look for the follow through tomorrow. If you're more aggressive, if you're an active trader, and you jumped in this morning, off this pivot, it is what it is, right? We got some green lights in the price column of the color guard. So if you're more aggressive, can't be too mad at it. GLW, look at that. Woo, that's a beautiful candlestick. Trading at session highs. Value on the rise. Price action on the rise. Strong buy rating. It's not choppy. I don't see holds in here. Again, it's not like not just like Big Bear AI. But again, that pivot off the 20-day EMA, right? Was that a bullish engulfing? Let's go to 1 month. Yeah, bullish engulfing. Engulfed the last 2 candlesticks. Looking for a third candlestick to engulf, right? So that's what I'm saying, Bill. Yeah, BBAI makes me nervous. I'm not that, a crazy momentum. Well, I'm not saying I'm never. I just did neg last week, so I can't say I'm not, Bill. But it does make me nervous, and to relieve some of that nervous, I feel a lot better with starting a position in Big Bear AI here, coming off this 20-day EMA, rather than trying to catch this falling knife from this, almost looks like a shooting star here at the upper wick. But I do like low. I mean, that's nice. Nice pivot off that 20-day EMA. I like it. Cannot lie. Forecasted data, 16%. Rising earnings. Hey, that's a good one. SGHC. 1 year chart. Look at that. Value on the rise. Price action on the rise. Buy rating. Rising earnings, sales growth rates, 34, 32%. I liked it. John, BBAI, 162% pre-tax margin. Super poopiosity stock at this time. Again, John, I ain't talking about Big Bear AI because of fundamental analysis. I don't think anyone's talking about BBAI because of fundamental analysis. Just like Palantir, right? It's not the fundamentals that are making that stock move. Palantir's, obviously they got a lot more going for it than Big Bear AI. But yeah, that 20-day EMA pivot today for Big Bear AI, that's exactly what I'd want to see if I was gonna, buy a dip in BBAI. BBI changes CEOs as often as I do underwear, and cash burn is concerning. Yeah, again, I'm not going into BBAI because I think the company's got strong fundamentals. No, that is not even remotely why I would be going into BBAI. Here we got Evercore. Again, my favorite chart pattern. Value on the rise, price action on the rise. Look at that. Retest, buying pressure there right at the 8-day. Strong trend. It's keeping the trend. I like it. So if this is your stock, EVR, I'm not going to be too concerned about taking profits. If we do get a pullback, if that 20-day EMA, if you want to take some off the table, if price action goes below the 8, hey, can't be mad at it. But definitely by the 20-day EMA, protect the profits. I mean, this stock was 150, now it's at 300 almost. So, pretty much got a bag since the bottom. So if it slows down or takes a breather, I wouldn't be too surprised by that. But value's still rocking and rolling. Great forecasted data, rising earnings. Definitely a stock to have on your shopping list. So Ryan can sing along. Super freak. She's a freak. Super freak. Whew, I haven't heard that song in a while. Again, another stock showing my favorite chart pattern. Undervalued, value on the rise. Price action on the rise. Buy rating across the board. We haven't had a hold rating on this stock since April, looks like. Yeah, April 30th. Buy rating came in. Stock was, the close that day was 211. Now it's at 310. So it's up almost 50% here. Rising earnings, but yeah, another great stock. Arista Networks, this is a good dip. You can see the line here at the downward trend line. But look, value's starting to tick up now with this dip. I do like that. Price action starting to tick up. Yeah, here's my line here. So some resistance coming into play around 108. If you get a lot of rejection and you're happy with your profits around this one, yep, there it is. There's a touch before. So just be careful. We got a touch from the top here. So yeah, strong level coming in around 108. See what happens here. We got a little bit of a wick, but nothing crazy as far as rejection. Bill, trust me, my singing will not pay the bills, Bill. It will not pay the bills. I will be homeless under a bridge if I had to depend on my singing for income. Synopsy. That's a big down day. Got the gap. I got a gap fill here. If I'm looking, yeah, you might get some follow through the next day. We'll get right up in that gap. I'd be careful with this one here. If you're a long-term investor, look at something like the 40-day. See what the 200-day is doing, right? But still way above the 20-day. So even the intermediate swing traders shouldn't be too concerned right now. But that is a big day. So a big down day today. So protect profits. Definitely protect some profits there. Micron, again, favorite chart pattern, lower left, upper right. And Micron's doing exactly what I thought it'd do. Rejection. This is the level right here, 117 to 114. If it breaks much below it, I'd get defensive. Otherwise, if we get some confirmation back above this 20-day EMA, you can see Micron channeling here. I'd rather get into this position at the lower end of this channel with a tight stop than buy at the top end of this channel. So if I get in at the bottom end of the channel, it gives me a little bit more of a cushion with a stop, right? So if you're thinking about buying Micron and you missed all of this right here, the closer you can get to 117 to 114. But again, look for a pivot. Look for a pivot. Today's not the pivot. It actually gapped down today. We're sitting right on there. Yeah, I need a little more confirmation. It tried to pivot here, but not much of a rally, so we'll see if the second time can happen. All righty, what time is it? 1:04. We got to go. We got to get out of here. But again, just a reminder, Wednesday I'll be here. Thursday, it looks like Steve Chappell will be doing training Thursday. The mobile stream on Friday is canceled as of now. So no mobile stream on Friday and no power hour in the community on Friday. So just want to, put out those updates. Tonight, 6 p.m. video. I've got 5 stocks for you, the great stocks within the VectorVest 7 system. So I saw, a couple green lights here. So if you do want to buy stocks, I realize MTI is high. I realize that primary waves, teetering. But as long as that primary wave is up, I'm going to give you some bullish candlesticks and we'll hopefully start out the week on a good note. And hopefully we can find a good stock like last week, being neg, right? Got a bag in a week. All right, everybody. Enjoy your afternoon, and I will see you Wednesday.